The fact that University of Delaware is trying to keep these documents secret, in fact, it said it's not going to release any of them until 2 years after Biden leaves public office, I think that's unacceptable.
How in the holy hell is Biden's old ass? How does he get documents that he's not supposed to have? We are still trying to check out more of this whole classified information thing with the Bidens. I checked out one video before where I saw that China themselves gifted Hunter Biden a 3.2 carat diamond. One of the best diamonds ever. I don't know why they would do that. Why would somebody's crackhead son get a 3.2 carat diamond from another country and he has nothing to do with them or the way that they do business? But then it shows them running all around town, dropping off classified information. I don't understand that, but I do see that some email information has came out about this, and we are going to check this out together. Make sure that you go to the LFRFamily.com and ask me about Bang Bang Tea when you get a moment, okay?
And we begin this Sunday morning with breaking news on President Biden's handling of the United States' most sensitive information. We now have new information on the bulk of documents that Joe Biden donated to his alma mater, the University of Delaware.
Hunter Biden wanted a different type of rock. That is so petty.
According to lawyers representing the parties who are trying to get to these documents, there are 1,850 boxes and 415 gigabytes of electronic records.
What?
Consisting of the so-called Biden records. The documents are said to fill up 2 tractor-trailer trucks. What we do not know is who sent the money to the university to archive and maintain these records.
What I want to know is how come all of this information is not locked up some damn where? What am I missing? I need to understand why this information is not locked up.
As the university will not release the accompanying so-called gift agreement. Meanwhile, this upcoming Tuesday, the General Counsel for the National Archives and Records Administration will sit for an on-the-record interview with the House Oversight Committee over classified documents found at multiple unsecured locations, including Biden's Delaware home and his office at the Penn Biden Center.
And inside of his car. Oh my gracious, what am I missing, guys? Please feel free to let me know in the comments. I will read what you guys present me, but I really want to know what's going on with this. This is crazy.
This comes as, according to Senator Ron Johnson, an email from Hunter Biden in 2014 about Ukraine to one of his business partners looked suspiciously like it was taken directly from classified information that the State Department gives members of the Senate when they travel overseas. This email from Hunter Biden to Devin Archer. Joining me right now to discuss all of this is Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz. He's a member of both the Judiciary and Foreign Relations Committees and is calling for a hearing on all of this.
I thought, how come Ted Cruz won't run for president? Do y'all like Ted Cruz? Would you vote for Ted Cruz? No?
Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Good to be with you.
Well, first, let's talk about this email from Hunter Biden to Devin Archer. It's quite specific, and we don't know where Hunter Biden got this information. But as you know, your colleague Ron Johnson is raising his hand about it. The email reads, some sort of decentralization will likely occur in the East. If it doesn't, the Russians will continue to escalate their destabilization campaign, which could lead to a full-scale takeover of the eastern region, most critically Donetsk. The strategic value is to create a land bridge for Russia to Crimea. Your thoughts on this email and your calls to get a hearing on what specifically is in these documents that have been identified at unsecured locations?
Well, the one thing we know for sure is Hunter Biden didn't write that. Hunter Biden is not an expert on Ukraine. He's not an expert on Eastern Europe. He's not an expert on Russia. But that email did help get him on the board of Burisma. It did help get him paid $83,000 a month because it showed a level of expertise not coming from him, but he was getting it from somewhere. That's
$83,000 a month? $83,000 a month? Really? Wow, I guess I need to become president too so I can start daggone hooking my children up with all them daggone type of jobs. My God, that's crazy.
It's clearly from some sort of briefing. We don't know whether it was a classified briefing or not, but that is the sort of analysis that is often within a classified briefing. And this email is unusual in the Hunter Biden emails. There's a level of scholarship and erudition that if it magically appeared, somehow it doesn't appear in the other emails he's sending. The obvious question is, what was he cutting and pasting from? What was his source? and it raises the natural inference that Hunter Biden had direct access to these classified documents. We do know that Joe Biden, it seems everywhere they search for classified documents for Joe Biden, they find it, whether it is Wilmington home, his Rehoboth Beach home, whether in his garage next to his Corvette, whether in the room next to his garage next to his Corvette, whether in the Penn Biden Center. It seems he leaves classified documents wherever he goes. And we also know that Hunter Biden at times was declared his residence to be those very same places.
If it's going to be anybody who's going to be taking some classified documents home, it definitely should not be President Joe Biden. The dude, when he's standing up at the podium speaking, doing whatever, reading from the teleprompter, say, read the teleprompter, pause. When he's doing that, he don't even know how to get back to his seat from the microphone. So who is babysitting this guy and allowing him to always just run away with the daggone classified documents? When you're watching a child, you don't let him run up to the daggone electrical outlet with something sharp. You make sure you watch him. Somebody need to grab them papers and spank him on his tail and say, no, you know better, no, stop it. You stop it, Mr. President. You daggone stop it.
And so I believe the natural next step that is necessary is for the FBI to examine the 1,850 plus boxes of documents from Joe Biden's Senate tenure that's at the University of Delaware. And I also believe it is critical for the FBI to search Hunter Biden's home and office residences to make sure there are no classified documents there. Given all the evidence that's piling up, we need to ascertain who's had access to what and when.
Senator, it's very concerning that we have no idea what these documents are. So I want you to talk to us about what these documents could be. You and your colleagues have been asking to get access to these documents. Certainly, every member of the Senate Intelligence Committee wants to see these documents. They say enough is enough, but the DNI said no. She just basically said no. And what we have here is a letter to Newt Gingrich, the former Speaker of the House, from the lawyers investigating this. And they are telling us that there's 1,850 boxes of the documents, enough to fill a tractor trailer, and the 415 gigabytes of electronic records. But the University of Delaware will not release who paid, who funded the archival and the maintenance of these documents. Was it Communist China?
Well, that's certainly a reasonable inference. It seems Joe Biden, certainly when Joe Biden went to Penn, Communist China paid millions of dollars to fund what he was doing. Communist China, we also know, paid Hunter Biden and the Biden family millions of dollars. And so there's a long history of Communist China writing checks. The fact that University of Delaware is trying to keep these documents secret, in fact, it said it's not going to release any of them until 2 years after Biden leaves public office, I think that's unacceptable.
What's unacceptable is receiving checks for millions of dollars and not having to explain what I did for those millions of dollars. That's all I want to know. All of these, enough documents to fill up a truck. I don't know why he will go anywhere with that. It's not like they gave him some homework as the president and this is due next week. You got to go to take these documents home. He don't even have to read documents. He don't have to take those documents. He don't have to do anything with them. He don't have to do a damn thing with any of them documents at all. The dude don't have a test that he needs to study for. All I want to know is, what's the other side of the $1 million? So if you're receiving millions of dollars from China, what are they receiving from you? That's all I want to know. Please make that make sense. I don't think that I'm different from anybody else in the world. So with that said, I do believe that there's one or two people out there with the same questions that I have, and they really want the answers. What exactly are you exchanging? What value are you exchanging for those millions of dollars? For your son being paid millions of dollars from them as well? Like, I don't get it, man. Is this some sort of a side hustle or something? Are things going that bad inside the White House that you out there daggone stand out in the corners just selling some classified documents? I got them documents. I got that fire. I got that heat out here. Come holler at me. Come holler at your boy. You're out there hustling daggone classified documents? Please let me know what value is being exchanged for these millions of dollars, because it's not making sense to me.
And let me say, the content of these documents, last week, the administration briefed the Intelligence Committee. And I got to tell you, the members of the Intelligence Committee that I spoke to were really frustrated. Both Republicans and Democrats were ticked off because essentially the administration said, go jump in a lake. We're not going to tell you anything. And that is thoroughly unacceptable. Look, there's a range of classified documents. I've read a lot of classified documents. Some are just general geopolitical observations. The consequences of that are not terribly significant. But there are other classified documents that involve sources and methods that implicate how we gather secret information. And some of the most delicate are those that can endanger the lives of covert operatives. We don't know if any of these documents fall into that category. There's an entirely different level that we need to know, which is whether any of these classified documents that Joe Biden had illegally in multiple locations involve his own family's business activities and potential corruption, whether they involve Burisma in Ukraine, whether they involve communist China and the entities that were paying the Biden family millions of dollars. If he, in fact, had classified documents that implicate his own financial well-being, that raises the potential of very serious criminal liability. It's an issue I've talked about at great length on the podcast I do every week, Yep. Verdict.
You heard him plug his podcast? On the podcast I do every week, Verdict. It's called Verdict. Did you just now plug your daggone podcast, dude? You're supposed to let the host of the show plug your podcast. Like, who's the lady? I don't know the lady name. I don't know this lady's name. But she's supposed to plug it. But yeah, I want to know, man.
Be analyzing the legal exposure that Joe Biden and the Biden White House faces.
Senator, you've been in the SCIF plenty of times. How do you get documents out of the SCIF? I mean, look, you have to sign in and you have to sign out. And when you sign out, you're making a commitment. I am not holding anything that I just looked at, aren't you?
You are. The fact that he had documents from his Senate tenure, I have to admit, is baffling. I've been in the Senate 10 years. I can state to a metaphysical certainty there are no classified documents at my home. How do I know that? Because I've read classified documents in only one place. It is in the SCIF, which is a secure location in the basement of the Capitol. You go down and down and down the stairs. The reporters follow you as you're going, and they stop at the door. They're not allowed to go any further in. You go through a whole series of doors. It's almost like the opening of Get Smart, walking through a whole series of doors. And then you go, there's a police officer, and you check in any electronics you have. You give them your cell phone, you give them your AirPods, you give them your Fitbit. You have no electronics at all. You go through a giant secure door, a second secure door, and you sign out any documents you're going to read. And you read them in that locked room. Right. And then you give them back the documents and you sign them back in, which means if you have them, I don't know how you get them short of, you remember when Bill Clinton was president, his national security advisor, Sandy Berger, who literally took classified documents from a SCIF, stuffed them down his underwear because he wanted to smuggle them out, and he wasn't very good at it. He got caught. I don't know if Joe Biden did that, but I have no idea how he got classified documents out of that SCIF. I don't know any other senator who's ever done that.
And Joe Biden definitely ain't carrying a damn thing by himself. So who's doing it for him? Who's doing it for him? He's obviously asking. No, he is demanding that those items are brought to him. If you got to go through all of that in order to get into that room that's so secretive, so classified, so shut down, so people cannot see inside of that room, how in the holy hell is Biden's old ass, who can barely walk from his seat up to the microphone and back, who can't ride a bike without falling and busting his ass, how does he get from all of those secured rooms with a tractor trailer filled amount of documents that he's not supposed to have? I don't understand how things shake and move and shake inside the White House. But this right here boggles my mind more than anything, because he's not supposed to have the documents and it's so difficult to get them, but yet he has them and nobody can do anything about them. Nobody can say anything. And actually they're painting it in a type of light that his supporters don't even care. They're like, what's the point? All presidents take documents, but they just turn them in before they clock out. Before they, if they pass their presidency on to somebody else, they just turn them all back in. I don't get it, man.
Well, wow. This leads me to another topic I want to get your take on, and that is term limits, because this is the issue when people go into Congress and are there for 30, 40, 50 years. You begin to think it's about you, and you have this unlimited power. You tweeted this week that you'd like to see a vote on term limits. I think our viewers would like that as well.
Look, absolutely. You want to talk about an issue that has widespread and bipartisan agreement. Term limits, a supermajority of Americans, more than 70% of Americans support term limits. More than 70% of Republicans, more than 2/3 of Democrats, more than 2/3 of independents. It's a massive support. There's one group that doesn't support term limits, and that is career politicians in Washington. All of the Democrats in the Senate oppose term limits, and all of the Republicans who've been there a gazillion years oppose term limits. I've introduced a constitutional amendment that would limit every senator to 2 terms, would limit every House member to 3 terms. I believe we ought to take it up and vote on it, because if we got career politicians out of Washington in both parties, there would be a lot less of the corruption of the swamp that is endemic and that sadly implicates both Democrats and Republicans.
I believe that too. I like that. I like that. Absolutely. And I agree 1000%. I don't think anybody should have never-ending terms where they can just serve and 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 serve. Yeah, they have to be voted in and all those other things, but come on, bro. They had people tied around their freaking fingers at that point. It's so difficult to get them out. It's crazy. They got pull. They got influence, and you're not going to get them out.
Well, will Chuck Schumer bring it to the floor?
Sadly, I don't think he will. I will keep fighting. I hope the House brings it up for a vote. We're much more likely to get a vote in the House under Kevin McCarthy. But Schumer doesn't want to vote on this because Schumer wants to stay there 1,000 years. And I think some of our Democratic colleagues have been there 1,000 years.
Yeah. Senator, thank you. And thank you for pushing so that our military gets what they are due after getting fired.
If someone could explain to me in layman terms. And I hate to be the slow one in the room, but it is what it is. I enjoy learning. I read under my videos, under my last video where it was talking about the diamond that they received from China. I'm talking about the Bidens and them dropping classified documents off, like them driving in patterns and stopping in different places in Chinatown, downtown DC, and just boom, dropping them off by a truck filled with gang members that set it all up. Okay, he dropped the packages. Go get them. And they just go grab boxes and run to the truck. Go get them. Get more. Come on. We got to hurry up and go. They setting up stings and everything for classified documents. What exactly are in them documents? How come we can't stop them from doing this? I thought we had power in this country. Apparently we do not. We can't. He said he asked about it and they tell him to go kick rocks. No, we're not telling you anything. Get the hell away from us, Ted Cruz. I don't get it, man. Someone should be able to hold these people accountable. Y'all let me know whatever y'all want me to know in the comments below. And if you have yet to hit that subscribe button, please make sure you do so on your way out the door. Once again, guys, I am Van, and now we are all the LFR family. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video, hopefully inside the Patreon as well. Make sure you go to LFRfamily.com and ask me about Bang Bang Tea so I can answer you. And I like to package them and send them myself. And hopefully you like what I show you. Okay? Love y'all. See you next time.